Did Nancy Pelosi offer to trade building a border wall in exchange for Donald Trump not running for president in 2020? No, that's not true. The story was published by a liberal satire website that tries to educate gullible Trump supporters and Republicans about the need to actually click and read links before sharing or liking them in order to avoid being embarrassed by fans of the site later. All the events described in the article are not real. The story originated from an article published on December 14, 2018 titled Pelosi, Trump Can Have Wall If He Doesn't Run in 2020, which opened, quote, in a surprising attempt at making a conciliatory deal after the contentious televised meeting earlier this week with President Trump, Nancy Pelosi has made an offer. As presumptory Speaker of the House, she will secure the Democratic votes necessary to fund a border wall if, and only if, the embattled president agrees not to run for re-election in 2020. Pelosi is also willing to throw in a dinner for two at Trump's favorite Mar-a-Lago restaurant. Pelosi denied that she's trying to strike the unorthodox bargain because she fears Democrats' chances of victory in the next election. Seriously? With his approval ratings and idiotic trade war and racism, we could literally run a one-legged retarded dick monkey against him and win in a landslide. No, what I think, is that his fragile ego and dementia-ridden thought process fixated on da wall all the time might both be satisfied if we promise him the damn thing in exchange for not having to listen to another campaign of douchebaggery and lies. We can always block it after he's either in jail or back to bankrupting casinos or whatever. It's like giving a kid $1 to shut him up. And he's far stupider than a kid, end quote. If that extended quote doesn't convince you the whole thing is just a joke, the site also comes with a clear satire disclaimer at the bottom of each article. Quote, satire _sati, renowned use of humor, irony, exaggeration, or ridicule to expose and criticize people's stupidity or vices, particularly in the context of contemporary politics and other topical issues. If you disagree with the definition of satire or have decided it is synonymous with comedy, you should really just move along. End quote. In addition to that, the header of the site also says, information you probably shouldn't trust to be best, and the article was published in the category GOLDDIGGING satire with loose 4-carat diamonds. If after all that you still believe it to be real, you should probably get help. The owner and main writer of the site is self-professed liberal troll Christopher Blair, a man from Maine who has made it his full-time job to troll gullible conservatives and Trump supporters into liking and sharing his articles. He runs several other websites, including patriotpost.us, dailyworldupdate.us and nofakenewsonline.us. Sometimes he is also known under his nickname, Busta Troll. A second man working on the sites is John Prager, as revealed in this earlier story we wrote. Articles from Blair's sites frequently get copied by real fake news sites who often omit the satire disclaimer and any other hints the stories are fake. Blair has tried to get these sites shut down in the past, but new ones keep cropping up and he keeps knocking them down. Blair and his operation were profiled by The Washington Post on November 17, 2018 by Eli Saslow. Quote, nothing on this page is real. How lies become truth in online America. November 17. The only light in the house came from the glow of 3 computer monitors, and Christopher Blair, 46, sat down at a keyboard and started to type. His wife had left for work and his children were on their way to school, but waiting online was his other community, an unreality where nothing was exactly as it seemed. End quote. If you are interested in learning more about Blair and the history of his sites, here is something to get you started. Quote, the ultimate Christopher Blair and America's last line of defense reading list, lead stories story updated, check for updates below. Yesterday Eli Saslow at The Washington Post wrote a fantastic article about Christopher Blair, a man from Maine who has been trolling conservatives and Trump supporters online for years and occasionally even made a living out of it. End quote. If you see one of his stories on a site that does not contain a satire disclaimer, assume it is fake news. If you do see the satire disclaimer, it is of course also fake news. NewsGuard, a company that uses trained journalists to rank the reliability of websites, describes Bebest website as, quote, a site that publishes false stories and hoaxes that are often mistaken for real news, part of a network named America's Last Line of Defense run by hoax perpetrator Christopher Blair. End quote.